Have you ever thought about opening your own mobile cart or kiosk business? Maybe the facility you manage could establish new revenue by adding coffee, food, or retail services. Cart King International can be the answer to your needs. Cart King is a North American designer and manufacturer of the finest mobile coffee, food, and retail carts and kiosks. Cart King has been working with clients and corporations across North America for 20 years, providing innovative designs, custom manufacturing, and timely delivery. Carts and kiosks are fun, and so are the dozens of designs on our website. Please visit us today at www.cart-king.com or just call us at 1-877-986-7771 and get your sales rolling.
If you find yourself in need of legal representation, it can be a very stressful time in your life. In my career, I have dealt with thousands of lawyers, I've dealt with thousands of law firms, and I can confidently recommend to you Keith M. Davidson at kmdlaw.com. Available 24 hours, 7 days a week. Just log into kmdlaw.com. That's kmdlaw.com. Or you can call toll-free 833-4KMD-LAW. That's 833-4KMD-LAW. Personal injury, wrongful death, STDs, sexual assault, car accidents. They handle it all efficiently and professionally. It doesn't matter how imposing the opposition may be, because the team at kmdlaw.com are battle-tested and fierce. They will not stop until justice prevails. Go to kmdlaw.com or call toll-free 833-4KMD-LAW. If you're in for the fight of your life, stop screwing around and contact KMD Law. PureSoapFlakes.com, 218-568-2525. Have you ever heard of Castile Soap? Pure Soap Flake Company handcrafts fine soap bars, laundry powder, and concentrated soap flakes using organic vegetable oils from their northern Minnesota facility. Bathe your body and wash your clothes with Pure Soap products that are free of fragrance, GMOs, palm oil, sodium lauryl sulfate, and synthetic additives. Keep it clean, folks. Pure Soap Flake Company products are kind to living creatures and sensitive skin, safe for drains and waterways, and work great in high-efficiency washers and top and front-loading machines. They have a little promotion going on. Contact them to order some soap. Mention the Opperman Report. You're going to get a free gift. They're going to send a little extra soap, travel size, soap bars and laundry soap, cleaning soap flakes. I've been using that stuff all day long today. Great stuff. Order today at puresoapflakes.com or give them a call, 218-568-2525, 218-568-2525. Pure Soap Flake Company is a proud member of the Handcrafted Soap and Cosmetic Guild. Aquadam.net. Give them a call at 707-764-2119. A flooded home is never easy to deal with. You're left with the mess to clean up, having to deal with the insurance company, not to mention the memories that are lost that you can never replace. To those who live in flood-prone and hurricane-prone areas, which is just around the corner, prepare now. Hurricane season is right around the corner. Visit Aquadam.net to see how they can help you prepare to avoid flood damage this season and every season thereafter. An Aquadam could be another tool in your arsenal to protect your home and property from the floodwaters. A cofferdam, using water to control water, that can protect your home, your business, your church, your neighborhood, like a dam, but without the beavers. Give Aquadam a call at 707-764-2119, 707-764-2119, or look them up online at aquadam.net. They're also on Facebook at Aquadam Inc., or call or email them today. They can help you out. Give them a call. Tell them Opperman Report sent you. Opperman Report, that's 10% off the price to anyone who mentions the Opperman Report.
It's the Opperman Report. Join digital forensic investigator and PI Ed Opperman for an in-depth discussion of conspiracy theories, strategy of New World Order resistance, high-profile court cases in the news, and interviews with expert guests and authors on these topics and more. It's the Opperman Report. And now, here is investigator Ed Opperman.
Go. Okay, welcome to the Opperman Report. I'm your host, private investigator Ed Opperman. You can reach me at Opperman Investigations and Digital Forensic Consulting. You can also check out our website, oppermanreport.com. And we have a brand new live video podcast every Thursday night at getvocal.com, GETVOKL.com. It's a live true crime podcast. This week, as a matter of fact, tonight we'll have on Mark Ebner talking about his latest book. And getvocal.com. I need people to go there and sign up. Our guest today is Alan Woods, and he's with Marxist.com. That's his website. He's written many, many books. One is called The Great Betrayal, about Franco, Reason and Revolt. And Marxist.com is also known as In Defense of Marxism. You can find it that way, too, as well. And they just set up a thing called the Marxist Internet University that you can take a course at Marxist.com to learn all about Marxism. So, Mr. Alan Woods, are you there?
I am indeed, yes. Good afternoon. I suppose it's good morning out there, is it?
No, it's about 12 noon. It's 12 noon here.
Ah, there we are. There we are.
Yeah. So tell us about yourself. Who is Alan Woods?
Well, first of all, I am an active Marxist. I've been all my life. I was born in South Wales. No, I'm not English. I'm Welsh, for your information. And into a working-class family with strong left-wing traditions. And I've been a Marxist and a socialist and a fighter for socialism all my life. I've studied Marxism quite a lot. I've traveled widely, participated in the class struggle. You just mentioned the book I wrote about Spain, where I participated personally in the struggle against the Franco dictatorship in the 1970s. I studied Russian in the Soviet Union in the 1960s, and also in Bulgaria. I spent many visits to Pakistan, and of course, above all, to Venezuela, which I think you're particularly interested in. I was quite close to Hugo Chavez, the late Hugo Chavez, who was a friend and comrade of mine during his life, and that is basically my record to date. I hope that I will go on to do a few more things before I survive this lockdown that we're all suffering under.
Would you be offended if I asked you how old you are?
Not at all. I will be 76 on October the 23rd. You can send me a present if you like.
There you go. I think I will. I think I will. I would enjoy doing that. Now, you mentioned, how was it that you first learned about Marxism and became interested?
Well, as I said, I was brought up in a poor working class family in South Wales. South Wales is an area of coal mining and steel, which you have many areas like that in the States, I suppose, in Virginia and elsewhere. And a place also of very hard class struggle. Indeed, my grandfather was an active member of the Communist Party, and so was my mother. And, of course, I was brought up in that environment. People would talk. I remember distinctly when I was a kid, people would talk about the strike. When I was wondering what the strike was, as if it was yesterday, they were talking about the general strike of 1926, and which the working class suffered terribly from that defeat. And so, in a sense, you could say it was built into my genetic makeup. You could argue that. But from an early age, from 16 years of age, I joined the Labour Party Young Socialists at that time. I began a serious study of Marxism, of Marxist ideas, Marxist philosophy, and so on, which has sustained me ever since. So that, as I say, I go way back, 60 years, I think, 59 actually, to be precise.
Here in the United States, okay, pretty much
Yeah.
the average person who will listen to Alan Woods and say, Marxist? This man is the word Marxist is an insult in this country. He's a Marxist. He's a communist.
Well,
how would you explain yourself to that person?
Well, I think honestly, Ed, I could explain myself rather well. I could get people, I think, to listen, even very surprised. But nowadays, I think many people, not just in the US, I think it's a general phenomenon, particularly with this crisis, which, by the way, is the deepest crisis, not in 60 years, as they try to say, or 70 years, whatever. It's the deepest crisis in the history of 200 years of capitalism. And the consequences are dire. And many people, of course, have started, perhaps for the first time in their lives, they've started to think seriously about things, think seriously about the situation of society, the rich, the poor, the privileges, and so on. And I think many people now are more interested and more open, I would say, to discussing the idea of socialism than at any other time. I think that's particularly true of the States, actually. I mean, look at the success, the phenomenal success of Bernie Sanders, for example, though he eventually backed up. That was predictable because of the machinations of the Democratic Party and so on. But in any case, there is a growing interest. I've seen certain different opinion polls which state that a lot, particularly the young people in the States, I think I've seen figures of over 60%, well over 60%, that said that they would be prepared to vote for a socialist president. And I was quite amused with some American journalist, I forgot the name of the chap, about a year ago. He said, well, don't worry, no cause for worry, because not everyone thinks like that. And only 30% of the people in the States above 65 years of age think like that. Now, that's astonishing. After decades and decades of anti-socialist, anti-communist propaganda, that the 30% of people above 60 years of age in the state should contemplate voting for a socialist president. I mean, that at least shows me something. I think that something is changing in the States. Yeah, Many people are beginning to think critically, you know?
I agree. I'm 57 years old, and I've never been so encouraged my entire life. And especially my daughter's 19 years old. She just started a college in Washington, D.C., and her friends, they're all serious leftists. But what would you say to that person? You know the person I'm talking about. They listen to maybe right-wing talk radio, and they hear socialist or Marxist, and they say, no, I believe in freedom. What do you say to that person?
Yes. Well, freedom for what? I mean, freedom for a handful of parasites, 1% of the less than 1% of the population in Wall Street to become obscenely rich at the expense of the whole of the rest of the working population. I don't think that's much of a freedom. And freedom for the rest. For the latest figure that was mentioned to me, I don't know whether it's accurate, I believe it is accurate. There are 30 million American workers that are unemployed or about to be made unemployed. And now this, in a country which is the richest country in the world, surely any sane person ought to be thinking carefully as to how this could exist. And I believe that many people, even people that you describe, right, I think even many people, perhaps some of your listeners will strongly disagree with my opinion, but I'm of the opinion that many people, working class people that voted for Trump, it was a kind of protest vote, against the existing two-party system of Democrats and Republicans, which are fundamentally the same. They fundamentally defend the same values, the same capitalist system, and so on and so forth. So even that, in a funny sense, in a twisted sort of way, was the reflection of an undercurrent of strong discontent with the status quo, which I believe affects many more people than what you would think. By the way, I noticed even at that, and this is the last election, not this present, but the last election, where Bernie Sanders stood for the first time, many Trump voters said that if they didn't vote for Trump, they would vote for Bernie Sanders. I think that is highly significant.
Yeah, before that, we had Ron Paul, too, who seemed to attract that same type of like-minded person. Yes. But let me ask you a question, Mr. Woods. You keep mentioning, I've heard you say it many, many times, the workers. Isn't socialism people who don't want to work and want free stuff?
Well, the people that don't want to work and want free stuff at the expense of the whole society is the 1% I just mentioned. The people, the fat cats in Wall Street, not the working class, who, whether they like it or not, are forced to work all their lives. And by God, they work in the States in particular, do they not? Long hours of it. I saw there was one humorous, I suppose it's an anecdote about your present wonderful President, Donald Trump. And he was bragging in a dinner party with some of his rich, wealthy backers. Makes me laugh when he says he's against the establishment. When he's from that class himself, he's a billionaire. He's sitting at the table and he's boasting, I've created 1 million jobs. And the waiter, must have been a poor Latino, was listening to the conversation. He said, I know, Mr. President, I got 3 of them. People working, in order to survive, obliged to work 2 or 3 jobs, low paid and so on. This is hardly life, is it? I wonder when people live. You got 3 jobs. So you work and you sleep, and now you don't even get to do that because you'd be unemployed.
Yeah, if you can barely, sustain your food, your shelter, and that's slavery. If your income is barely, that is slavery.
So when people talk about freedom, well, this for the working class, this is slavery. It's what they used to call in the States wage slavery, wage slaves. Jack London and so on used to use that kind of language. It's quite correct. It's quite applicable. And the robber barons. Don't you have the robber barons back